listening. All praises to the Most High. Get a brother a hand. Because he's been here humble, he's been listening, the brother took off his hat. So you have an ear in here. I want to know, I know each of us have asked y'all the same question, which is, what have you learned since you've been up here so far? Right, okay. How about your nationality? What is your nationality? Israelite.
That's right.
Tribe? Judah. Right. And what color was Christ? He black. So y'all did a good job. All praises. Get a brother in here. So when you walk away now you know your nationality, the tribe that you came from, the tribe Christ came from, and his color. You know more right now than the average person. Put it like that. You know more. You learn more about your nationality and what God requires of you in how long you've been, an hour, than you've learned in your entire life.
Right.
Why is it this information is so scarce? Nobody understands this stuff. You ever thought about that? Because it seemed plain and clear that we just brought it out, right? Like it's been in the same book that you read in church. But somehow, you've never heard this information before. You want to tell you why, what it is? The churches aren't teaching our people what they need to know. And the reason is because the church doctrine is there for a doctrine of prosperity, right? They teach, they tell you what you want to hear, but it's to line their pockets.
Right.
We bring the church to y'all. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? We ain't asking you. There's no bucket out here for no money. We're not asking for change. We're not asking for no money. We come out here on a Saturday, on the Sabbath, and bring the church to the people. Bring the word of God. You know, tell you why? Because the word is what's going to set you free. Give me that.
Right.
John chapter 8. Most of the times, you know what I'm saying, you go to a big building, they got nice chapels, nice seats, you know, windows, all that, and they throw that basket around. We come out here to give our people the truth because this is what's going to heal us as a nation of people.
That's right.
When we close our eyes and see that as God, right? And all the imagery on the planet Earth, the dollar, got the very thing that we spend our entire lives working for, got an image of a white man. When we close our eyes and we think of God, it's a white man. All these things are subconscious things that were given to us for us to hate each other. So when I see you, I don't see Jay, I just see a nigga. You know what I'm saying? But when I see the police, that's God. You know what I'm saying? One cop can break up a whole shootout, and
right.
Jake will, the Israelites, our people will literally run and flee because Esau, the white man, has come up and he's wearing a uniform. When we see each other, we'll go blow for blow and kill each other, right? It's all because we broke God's commandments. But I'm gonna show you this. John chapter 8.
John 8, verse 32. And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
So Christ is telling us here that once you know the truth is what's going to make you free. What is the truth? Give me the scripture on the truth. What is the truth? Because believe it or not, you've been given a lot of truth. We call this the truth because the truth is hidden from us.
Right.
The truth about the color of Christ, the truth about your nationality, the truth about who we are and how we should deal with each other has been hidden from us for centuries.
Right.
Think about it. In slavery, Jay, what weren't we allowed to do that we would get killed for? Run away, what else? Or let me say, education-wise, what was taken from us? The ability to... Yes, okay, read. If you didn't know, if you were caught reading back during these... Yeah. So if you were caught reading anything, right, you would be immediately beaten. But if you were caught reading the Bible, you'd be put to death.
Right.
So you could learn how to read, and they would just beat you. But if they found out you was reading the Bible, they would murder you. Why? Because our entire history is in this book.
That's right.
People say, because you said you grew up going to church, right? Well, and do you still go? Okay, why'd you stop? You haven't found a church. Okay. What is your beliefs in God? Do you believe in God? How do you feel about the Bible being a true book? On a scale of 1 to 10, how true would you say it is? An 8? Okay, and 1 out of 10. Let me ask you something. If I told you, Jay, in 5 years, This is literally what's going to happen to you if you do this. Literally, if I basically spelled out your entire future 5 years from now. Now you continue to live all right, and in 5 years, everything that I said happened to you, would you say, dang, whatever he was saying was true? Right? That's what this Bible is.
Right.
See, the way the Bible has been taught to us is it's been taught to us from a slave mentality. So when we hear the Bible, we're taught servants obey your masters, for this is good. We're not taught the things that really pertain to us. So that's the reason why you may not have a 10. But when you really peel back this Bible and find out that it's really written about you and nobody else.
Right.
The Bible is written for the Israelites, by the Israelites, to the Israelites, to no one else.
That's right.
That is going to go from an 8 to a 50 on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm going to show you why. Give me Psalms 119.
Psalms 119, verse 142. Thy righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and thy law is the truth.
So the Bible says the law of God, the word of God is what's true. So this is the truth that's going to set you free. I'm going to show you why. Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 1. I know he went over it briefly, but I want to go back and I really want to connect the dots for you to see why this will set you free. Deuteronomy 28 and 1.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 1. And it shall come to pass.
So in other words, in the future, Jay, read.
If thou wilt not hearken diligently.
And hearken means to, remember you said it earlier? Here. If you don't listen, so God is saying, if you do listen.
If thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth.
So the Bible's saying that God was going to give us rulership over all nations on the planet Earth. What does that mean? Say it again. God said here that if we kept his commandments and we listened to him diligently, he was going to set us on high above all nations on the planet Earth. What does that mean? Because a lot of times we'll read through that and we don't deduce what it's really saying. What it's saying is that God has a favorite, right? There's no such thing as equality in the Bible.
Right.
It's either you're the bottom or the top. Now, where do you want to be? You want to be at the top, right?
That's right.
Where are we today? As a nation of people, look around. Our living conditions, us being in prison, us being the first fired, last hired, on welfare, Section 8, housing, EBT, where do we fall? Say again? We ain't average. We're below average. We should be at the top, but we're not. Right. Listen, you go to anywhere in the world, any country, black and brown people are the most poor.
Right.
You go to Africa. Africa, the continent of Africa, is literally the richest continent on the planet Earth. Everything that is pretty much created, your phone, is made out of bauxite. Bauxite is a resource found in Africa. Diamonds, Africa. Gold, Africa. All this stuff comes from Africa, yet the people who have inhabited the land there, right, are poor.
Right.
And who's the ones reaping the benefit race-wise? White people, right? So we're not average. We are far below average. We are literally the bottom of that. I'm going to show you that here in this chapter. But before I show you that, Jay, I want to see if you've been paying attention. Why are we at the bottom? Exactly. That's the point, is that the reason why we're in the conditions that we're in is not because we're weak. Because listen, you look at the NFL, the NBA, right? We dominate those leagues. Boxing, the best boxer in the world, Floyd Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? We are clearly the strongest people on the planet Earth.
Right.
So you can't tell me that it was by strength that white people were able to snatch us off the west coast of Africa and bring us here and make us work for them for 400 years. We could easily listen, the slaves outnumbered the slave masters.
Right.
15 to 1, 20 to 1. For every one slave master, he had at least 20 slaves. You mean to tell me 20 slaves can't take down one white man? It's a curse from God. That's what's happening to us.
That's right.
So in numbers, we have power, but we've been broken mentally. You understand? We've been broken mentally. So Deuteronomy chapter 28 and get verse 15, and I want you to jump to verse 44.
Deuteronomy 28, verse 15.
Bring it out.
But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee.
So God is saying, if we do not listen to the word of God, if we don't keep his commandments, curses were going to come upon the children of Israel, and it was going to overtake them. In other words, they were going to be consumed by the curses here that you read in this chapter.
Right.
Now jump to verse 44. I want to show what I was saying earlier. Read.
Verse 44. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him.
So one of the curses is that the enemies that God sent against us, the so-called white man, the so-called Arab man, the so-called Chinese man, he was going to lend to us, and we were not going to lend to him. So let me ask you something, bro. If you want a loan for a car, where do you have to go? Car dealership or to the bank, right? To get a loan. Who is the one lending the money to you?
You know?
My brother right here. If you in the GLB, if you want a loan for a car, where do you gotta go? And who owns the bank? White people, right? So God is saying, as a result of breaking his commandments, he is going to lend to you and you are not going to lend to him. Read on. And what?
He shall be the head and thou shalt be the tail.
This is Bible prophecy right here. God is saying, if you break my commandments, they are going to be the head of the world and you're going to be at the bottom. That's why I asked you earlier. I said, hey, if in 5 years, Jay, right, I tell you, this is what's going to happen to you if you do this. And I spell it out to you in extreme detail to the point that it's irrefutable. I'm telling you exactly what's going to happen. Would you believe it? And you said yes, right? The way the Bible has been taught to us has been taught from a slave master's perspective. A slave master ain't going to read this to you because if you know who you are, what does that give you?
Right.
It gives you power to rise up. You realize that, hold on. From the beginning of this book, the intention that God had for me was to rule over all nations. So why the hell am I a slave?
You know?
You understand what I'm saying? So this is the truth that sets you free. This is what gives you power. Let's get more descriptive. Let's go up a verse.
That's verse 43. The stranger that is within thee.
So God is saying the stranger that's within thee. Why are they within us? Because back then we ruled over them.
Right.
We were the ruling class of the earth. In other words, they were our slaves. They worked for us. They were our servants. God is saying the stranger. He called them strangers because they weren't of our own people. Read on.
Shall get up above thee very high.
So God is saying the stranger that's basically beneath you is going to get above you very high. What does that show you? That we were ruling back then.
That's right.
It's so hard for us to see black people as the ruling class of the world. When I tell you it's hard, I'm not talking about Obama and Kamala Harris.
Right.
I'm talking about us running this planet.
Right.
Our brains can't conceive that because history has been taught from a white people's perspective. You know?
Right.
What year did you graduate high school? Huh? What year? 2016. Okay. So when they teach you history, they teach it from slavery going forward. Anything behind that is the Renaissance period, which is white rulership. We don't realize. You ever heard of the Dark Ages? Okay, that's fine. The Dark Ages was a period in time prior to the Renaissance period that black people ruled the world. They called it the Dark Ages because the people that ruled the earth were dark.
Right.
You understand? So they don't tell you none of this stuff. They don't tell you the kings of the earth. They don't tell you that Jesus is black because God is saying here that the stranger that's within thy gates are going to be very high above you. They're going to rule over you. You're not going to know who you are. Let me ask you, do you know the biblical name of white people in the Bible? Okay, I'm going to show you in the Bible. This is just so you know when you walk away that God does describe the white man in the Bible.
Right.
And they're not white. We call them white because we've been taught that, these are white people and y'all black. We ain't black and they ain't white.
Right.
All right, read.
Genesis 25, verse 21.
You know?
And Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife.
So this is a little story. You're going to hear a little story, okay? True story, okay? Isaac entreated the Lord of his wife, Rebekah. He went to the Lord about his wife. Read.
Because she was barren.
So Rebekah wasn't able to have children. Now I'm going to tie it full back circle to white people, right? Rebekah, she couldn't have children. She wasn't able to get pregnant. Read on.
Because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived.
So Isaac went to the Lord and said, "Listen, Lord, my wife isn't getting pregnant." So the Lord heard Isaac, and Rebekah his wife became pregnant. Read.
And the children struggled together within her.
So that means that she had twins. There were 2 children in her stomach. She's saying that the children in her stomach struggled. They fought with each other. Okay, read.
And she said, if it be so, why am I thus?
So she's saying, Lord, if you give me children, why are they in my stomach fighting each other? Listen to what the Lord said. Read.
And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb.
So the Lord told Rebekah the reason why the twins in your stomach are fighting is because 2 nations are within thy womb. So we're not just talking about 2 children. We're talking about the progenitors, the original ancestors of 2 different nations of people. Okay, you follow me? What nations you think I'm talking about? The white and the black.
That's
right. You're going to hear. Read.
And 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels.
So 2 manner mean 2 different types of people, 2 different characteristics. They act different, they talk different, they walk different, they think different. They're going to be separated. Okay, read.
And the one people shall be stronger than the other people.
So God has never been about equality. He's saying that one of the children, one of the nations, is going to be stronger. They're going to rule over the other people. Okay?
Right.
So that just goes to show that this whole thing about Christianity and equality and let's all hold hands and sing Kumbaya and march to the kingdom of heaven together, that's not in the Bible.
Right.
The Bible, the salvation, the saving, all that, the death of Christ on the cross for a nation of people, that was for us. That wasn't for everybody.
That's
okay?
right.
We are.
And the elder shall serve the younger.
And the oldest child is going to serve the youngest child. In other words, whichever child comes out first, because they're twins, right? Whichever child comes out first is gonna, his nation of people that come out of him in the future will serve the younger child's nation of people. Read on.
And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb.
Right.
The first came out red, all over like an hairy garment.
So it describes the first child. It says the first child came out red all over like a hairy garment. Now I want you to tell me, Jay, what nation of people are red and hairy? You said Mexicans? No, red. Their skin is translucent. No. Think about it. Okay, when you think about, okay, imagine somebody, right? A nation of people, when they get mad, their skin turns pink. You ever heard the term redneck? White people. What God's talking about here is white people. He's not talking about Mexican. Right. Mexican people have melanin in their skin.
Right.
It's only white people that get skin cancer real bad because they don't have any melanin in their skin. They're really red because their skin is translucent. The blood in their body shows through their skin. That's why when they get mad, or they get frustrated, they're nervous, you can see they're red. When they're in the sun too long, they don't get black, they get red. They're not white, they're red people.
That's right.
They're the red man. Okay? So God is saying the first came out red and hairy. Hairy. When you think about Esau, that's his name, the so-called white man, they are hairy people. You know what I'm saying? You look at their arms, they got a lot of hair on their arms. You know what I'm saying? Just think back about your old white football coach.
Right.
He'd be out in the sun with the damn little hat with the thing underneath it on, and his back of his neck is red and he's hairy. It's describing the originator of the white man here, right? Right.
And they called his name Esau.
That was the name of the first child, Esau. Read.
And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold of Esau's heel, and his name was called Jacob.
And that's where we come out of, Jay, because out of Jacob's name was changed to Israel. Okay, and out of Israel, also known as Jacob, came the 12 tribes of Israel. So this is literally our forefather that we're reading about here. The father of all these men, these were real men. The father of all these men we're reading about right here, Jacob. And Esau was the father of the white man. So How do you think God feels about the white man?
Bring it out.
Objectively, how do you think God feels about white people?
Bring it out. Bring it out.
Well, are they good? Are they bad? Are they neutral? How do you think God feels about them? We all the same? Okay.
Bring it
So
out.
if God feels that we're all the same, why would he say that the one is going to serve the other?
Bring it out.
Okay, all right. I know right now you're thinking, because right now what's happening is you're questioning a lot of your beliefs, which you've grown up thinking your entire life, and it's being challenged right now, which is good. This is what needs to happen to our people. We need to apply critical thinking, right? We think about the white man, right? What good has he brought to the planet Earth?
Bring it out.
He didn't bring life to the earth. He brought death. Think about it, right?
That's right.
He enslaved your people. He enslaved Native Americans, the tribe of Gad and Reuben. He enslaved Hispanic people. He has polluted the earth. The earth is completely out of whack because of him. He's killing animals left and right. Basically, the entire earth is out of whack because of his rulership. You understand what I'm saying? It's gone from a place that was plentiful and good to live on to a wasteland. So when you think about all the deeds that the so-called white man has done, has been to the detriment of the earth and to us. Slavery, murder, rape, robbing, all this. We don't do that to people, it's them.
Right.
I'm gonna show you how God feels about them. Read.
Obadiah 1 verse 1. The vision of Obadiah, thus saith the Lord God, concerning Edom.
Now Edom's name comes from the name Esau. The same way Jacob's name was changed to Israel, Esau's name was changed to Edom. And the word Edom means red. That's what it comes from. Red. So it says the vision concerning Edom, the nation of the white man. Read.
We have heard a rumor from the Lord. An ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle. Behold, I have made thee small among the heathen. Thou art greatly despised.
So God is saying, I made Esau small among the heathen. Meaning they're not the most populous nation of people. They don't got the most people. But they are greatly despised. All other nations can't stand the so-called white man. Why? Because Esau, America, is the only country that will be up in everyone else's country, stealing oil. They always got something to say about how they deal with however they, deal with the people there.
Right.
They want to do, they want to bring democracy there. Yet, they treat us like trash here in their own country.
Right.
They still enslave us. We still got police brutality. Meanwhile, they want to go and be the beacon of light and justify and make right in these other countries. Meanwhile, they can't get stuff done here themselves.
Right. Right.
They're hypocrites. God's saying, y'all are greatly despised. The so-called Chinese man can't stand America. The so-called Arab man can't stand America. Africa can't stand America. Nobody likes what the so-called white man has done. Read.
The pride of thine heart hath deceived thee.
So God is saying, you're so prideful, you done deceived just your own self. You so damn prideful, you've been deceived by yourself. Read on.
Thou that dwelleth in the clefts of the rock.
So this is a clue that God is saying here. God is telling who they are. As God says, thou who dwells, mean you live in the clefts of the rock. Now, you ever heard of the term Caucasian? The term Caucasian comes from the Caucasus Mountains. White people were the original cavemen. You ever seen a Geico commercial? They lived in the mountains. If you even look up Petra, Jordan today, they've literally built caves into the mountains. A place in Turkey called Cappadocia. They live in the mountains. God is giving you a clue here that the people he's talking about will be cave dwellers. They live in the clefts of the rock.
Right.
The word Caucasian comes from the Caucasus Mountains where they dwelled. Read.
Right.
Whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground? Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle.
So you got $1 on you right now? Like a $1 bill? I want you to take a look at it real quick. Why don't you take a look at it real quick? Because this is giving you a clue, and I'm going to bring it right back to Deuteronomy 28 of who this is talking about. Wow, this is going to blow your mind right now. Watch. Look at the back of that dollar. And read that verse again.
Though thou exalt thyself as the eagle.
So God said, Esau, though you exalt yourself as the eagle, read.
Eagle. And, sorry, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars.
And it says that they set their nest among the stars. Now, what nation of people uses the eagle to symbolize themselves?
You know?
So it's right there. What nation of people do you see use the eagle for their emblems, for their government, for their military? America, yes.
That's right.
America uses the eagle. God is saying you exalt yourself as the eagle. Why? The eagle is a predatory bird. The eagle is a bird that preys upon other animals. You understand? They use the eagle to represent themselves. When it says that they do what? About setting their nest.
Though thou set thy nest among the stars.
So God says they set their nest amongst the stars. What that's talking about is space travel. In 1969, when they landed on the moon, what do they say?
Bring it out.
What are the words? The words that they said as soon as they landed on the moon, they stuck a flag in the moon and said, yes, the eagle has landed, right? That's the stars they're talking about. They set their nest amongst the stars.
You know?
Esau knows who they are. The so-called white man knows that this Bible is talking about them.
Right.
You see how that correlates? They exalt themselves as the eagle, they set their nest amongst the stars. When you set your nest amongst the stars, you're setting your dwelling place. That's what a nest is, on the stars. They stuck that flag and said, this is America's. The eagle has landed. Now what is the irony that the so-called white man would do that? To that great detail. You see how true this book is? This was written thousands of years ago. God is telling you exactly how they are. Read on.
Bring it up.
Thence will I bring thee down.
God is saying, I'm going to bring you down.
That's right.
You will not rule the world forever. Esau, the so-called white man, has been used as a tool against us to judge us for breaking God's commandments. God said, all right, hey, listen, you don't want to listen to me? Go listen to them. They're going to jack you up. They're going to enslave you. They're going to rape you. They're going to rob you. They're going to take your resources. You go deal with them. You don't want to deal with me? I was going to give you everything. I was going to put you on high above all nations. God is saying, I'm still going to bring them down. Read on.
Saith the Lord, if thieves came to thee, if robbers by night, how art thou cut off? Would they not have stolen till they had enough? So God is describing to you the attributes of the so-called white man, named Esau in the Bible. The white man's name in the Bible is Esau or Edom. He's saying here that a thief, right? He's giving you an example. He's saying a thief would go somewhere and they would steal, and they would eventually say, all right, I've stolen enough, let's get up out of here. Not the white man. Not the white man. The white man will strip a tree bare and try to pull it up out the ground.
That's right. That's right.
They'll go to these countries, they'll steal the oil, they'll come here, they'll murder the Native Americans and then call them illegal aliens, put them on reservations. Then years later, they want to go into these reservations and take that from them.
Right. Right.
God's saying this is a greedy nation of people. They'll never have enough. They own the whole world. What more do they want now? They'll go into Africa and colonize it, steal the resources, enslave the people, and still ain't enough. Read on.
If the grape gatherers came to thee,
So say if grape gatherers, people who are taking grapes, read.
would they not leave some grapes? How are the things of Esau searched out?
So God is saying if people who are gathering grapes, aren't they going to leave some grapes on the tree for the people around them to still have? Not Esau. Not Esau. He'll strip you bare.
Right.
Until you pull up, get up by your bootstraps, boy. We're all equal. It's 2021. Why are you still complaining about being behind in this world? Well, you done took the damn boots from us.
Right.
You have left us desolate. You destroyed our people. You destroyed our mentality, and you tell us to get up and go figure out life ourselves. We all have equal opportunity in America. There is no equal opportunity.
Right.
We've only been reading for 200 years, not even 200 years.
Right.
That's 2 lifetimes. We've been able to actually read a book. they've been educated for thousands of years. They built civilizations. They want to tell us, hey, now we want to even out the playing field. You can't rise up. Meanwhile, they came here. Let me ask you something. How was this land built? Was this land built on any sort of not workforce, but was this land built on any sort of nobility? No, right? America. How did America come to pass? They murdered the people that were here.
Right.
They murdered, they stole, they coveted, they literally broke pretty much every law in the Bible here. So God is telling you this is the characteristics of your friendly neighborhood white man.
Right.
Chuck. And yes, some of us will say, oh, but there's nice ones. Listen, I don't try to hop into a cage with lions and figure out which lion is going to be nice to me.
Right, bring it up.
I'll leave the whole damn cage alone. I'm not finna hop into a cage with a mauling tiger and say, no, that's a cute tiger. They're gonna be nice. No, listen, our people, we are get me Zechariah 11:5. Our people want to trust our enemies so bad that we're willing to risk our own safety because we want them to be nice to us.
Right.
I want to show you something. You know about Trayvon Martin and Eric Gardner, all these people when the cops kill them and or not the cops, but Esau will kill them and get off. I'm gonna show you something. Zechariah 11:5. You gotta run? All right, I understand. You've been out here for a minute. I want you to hear this. Okay.
Zechariah 11 verse 5.
Bring it up.
Whose possessors slay them and hold themselves not guilty.
God is saying that our possessors, meaning the so-called white man, he'll slay us, he'll kill us, and what happens in court? Not guilty.
Right.
And we're stuck trying to figure out, hey, hold on, how is it that if we do the same thing to them, we'll be lynched?
Right.
If they don't get to us, one of them is going to take us and get to us.
Right.
But somehow, George Zimmerman is still walking the streets a free man. This dude is a best-selling author.
Right.
He murdered one of our own, and he's a best-selling author. He's fine. God is saying this is the curses that were going to come upon us for breaking his laws.
Bring it up.
All right? Lamentations chapter 4, verse 17. I know you got to go, bro. But I'm glad that you came here today and you know your nationality, which is what? You are from what tribe? Okay, and what color was Christ? All praises. Get a brother a hand.
Right.
Get a brother a hand. And last few questions. Why did we go into slavery? Why did these things happen to us? We didn't listen to God. And what is the solution? So how do we fix not listening to God? How do we gotta abide by the words of God. There we go.
That's right.
See, all praises to the Most High. So I feel safe to let this brother go because clearly he you know what I'm saying, you retain the information. All praise. So now you know what's required of you as an Israelite. You're supposed to keep God's commandments. All right, bro? Good meeting you, all right? With that, I'm gonna let the next teacher come up.
We used to scream black power while heroin was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are our men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.